Well, good morning. How y'all doing today? Ada here from the Choice Hotel uh, in Verona. I am mid-pack explosion, as you can see. I didn't really have to take everything out because the stuff in the bottom I didn't have any use for, but nice big screen TV and decent selection of channels. Charging port worked fine. All the mechanicals in the room were good. I think that the young lady at the front desk said that they've only been open, I don't know, a couple of weeks or a couple of months or something like that. So I had breakfast downstairs and I shot some video of that. I don't know if that'll be before or after this clip, but it was really pretty good. So today, if I'm on the trail by 8 or 8:30, I should be at the camping area by 2 before it gets really hot, and get my tent set up and try to stay out of the sun a little bit. I want today to be an easier day because tomorrow, for the first time ever, Ada on trail myself is going to try to hike a marathon. So I'm having breakfast at the hotel. It's a Choice hotel, and the rates were a little steep, like over $200 for tonight, but that's because it's graduation from the University of Wisconsin. So usually they're 100 or 110, and they have a pretty nice breakfast actually. They got some cereals and juice and coffee and oatmeal and some carbs, which I'm staying away from, but they actually also have eggs, sausage, potatoes, and they have a waffle thing. It had everything I needed, except it doesn't have guest laundry, which turned out to be fine because I really only needed to wash my shirts and my underwear, and I just did that in the sink. This is the closest hotel to the Ice Age Trail. It's about 0.4 miles to the east. So you come out of the Badger State Park right next to Gus's, which is kind of a regular diner where we had dinner last night. I'm going to go there and have coffee. And in between here and there is a Blaine's Farm and Fleet, which is like a big, sort of like Walmart. And there's also a grocery store. So this is the Sleep Inn and Suites by Choice Hotels. It's about 0.5 of a mile, half a mile off of trail. You can walk the street past the McDonald's to get to it, but I'm actually gonna go through the grass. I'm headed over toward Gus's Diner, which is about 0.3 of a mile or 0.4 of a mile back toward trail. And there's a little grassy berm you can walk on to save you, a 1 block of walk. And since you're off trail anyway, and I actually just spotted this. I mean, I'm walking out with 2 liters from the hotel, but if you just wanted water, it looks like just a regular hand pump right there. It's on the McDonald's property, but my guess is that if I pull up on this lever, I'm gonna get water. So there's a water source for you, even if you're not staying at the hotel or eating at the McDonald's. Okay, just left Gus's Diner after having breakfast, and now I'm headed back to the trail where I left off yesterday, over here by the Aztec Taqueria. And yeah, there's a nice little complex of this festival is the grocery store, which I'm assuming looks like it has kind of a Whole Foods sort of a vibe to it. But I have my poles strapped to my armrest because initially, at least, we're on this paved path, and most of the day, well, the first half of the day is spent in paved areas around Verona on this rail to trail path they have. So there'll be a lot of other traffic. I'll try not to film too much of that kind of stuff. My hiking colleague stayed up at the DCA, which is behind me up on the hill. Actually, I'll turn and show you that. It's not too far from this location. It's just right up where those bicycles are coming from now. And I have to be careful not to get run over by these folks. He said that
There was room at the DCA and also around it within sight of the sign to pitch a tent. Lots of options. You could probably put 4 or 5 tents in there in different places. There's a bathhouse. There's a little pavilion, like a picnic pavilion. You can eat under and get in the shade. And also there are some electrical outlets to plug stuff in. And it's not a pit toilet. It's a full bathroom with running water and air conditioning. I think there's an electrical outlet in the bathroom also. But you'll see a lot of things on the Ice Age Trail like this where they've put a walkway down and it's over kind of a marshy area, and it looks like a bridge and a drain, but there's no water in it. And that's true a lot on this trail. And I think it must just be that, you know, they get rain in the spring. They get water in them in the spring and the fall, but a lot of the water sources seem to be very seasonal. And of the ones that aren't, a lot of them are by farms, where you do have to think about using your best judgment on if there's runoff into that stream that you would have a problem with. But planning for water sources is a regular morning ritual on this trail for me, even more than it was on the Appalachian Trail. So you might make a note of that if you're planning on hiking some of this. It's not that water isn't along the trail. It's just that it's not annotated very well in Far Out, just because the trail's so new. And so a lot of things are annotated, but there's not an icon that says there's water. It's just a comment on a stop, at an intersection before or after the water source. And even the ones that are commented on and annotated with a waypoint in Far Out, because the trail's fairly new and the Far Out use on the trail is fairly new, it might only have 4 or 5 comments over the last couple of years. So unlike the AT, it's a little hard to figure out if a stream is running dry because it's seasonal, or if just one person happened to get to it, you know, right after a big rain and it's full of water, and then it's almost never full of water. Or if it's usually full of water and one person got there at the end of a long dry spell. So, and actually, here's a pretty good example. I don't think there's a waypoint here at this Ice Age Trailhead, part of the state park. And this is a water source. And the wind is rippling across it pretty well. And it doesn't look too murky. I think I can see down into it several feet. I'll check later on today and see if this is a water source that is defined on Far Out. Could be. There is one of them early on. But you can see there's a little path down there right to the edge of it. And then over here there's a little wooden dock. So I've reached the first challenge of the day. I'm at this turning point, and there's a sign that says trail closed, but it's not in front of the trail. So I'm going to assume that they moved the sign into the path of the trail whenever they're doing whatever project they're working on, and because it's off to the side of the trail, it's not an issue. If I run into a problem, I'll try to alert my hiking colleague who's a little bit behind me doing this resupply stuff that he has an issue, but I don't think there will be one. It is the case on the Ice Age Trail that because the trail is fairly new, that especially when you get near the urban areas, there is a tendency that they're actively working on it and the other trails it intersects with. So you can run into snags. Looks like I see what they're doing here actually, and they're letting. So I've just come through the part of the trail that on Far Out says it's closed, and it's not closed. I hiked right through it. I showed that trail closure sign earlier. It looks like they're mostly done with that construction project. Maybe they close it on weekdays or on some weekdays when they're having to do work on it. But when I walked through today, it's not a great trail because they've been doing work on it. Maybe it's a new section for all I know. But it's got straw laid where you're supposed to walk really wide, like as wide as this pavement I'm on now. Maybe they're going to pave it. I don't know. So So I just came up to this intersection from the left here and saw the back side of this sign. I think this set of blazes is for the reroute, which would take you on the other side of the stream. So if that trail closure sign had been in place at the other end and I had to go straight, then that's the point I would have come out at. So that's the south end of the reroute around this area that they're now routing through. But anyway, the blazing is a little confusing in this part. I actually think I did not just hike the part of the IAT that is shown on Far Out, but I hiked it where the signage was. I'm glad I'm only going 14 miles today because this blazing is ridiculous. There's a sign here which is the route that I didn't take because at the other end it said to come down the way that I came down. It looks like they meant for me to be on the other side of this stream. And I get here and I walked past this on the paved thing, and it turns out there's a little blaze on this thing that says I should have gone on this boardwalk. But if you come the direction I was walking, there's no blaze on this side, and there's no signal that I should turn. And there's no signal on that post back there that I should turn. So I walked 50 yards past this before I checked Far Out, and sure enough, there's a blaze right there onto this boardwalk and another one up ahead. So again, I think this might be the part of the boardwalk that a year ago when Goob's Adventures came through here, they were just building. So I don't think the blazing in this area is bad. I think it hasn't been fully updated because they're still working on that construction project. But just be careful if you're hiking this. At every single intersection, stop and check Far Out. And that's actually true on the roadwalks also, and on the whole trail. It's a new enough trail, and they're acquiring new trail and building new trail, or in this case, a really nice new boardwalk through a nice wooded shaded area, which today I'm very happy for. Thank you very much, trail builders. But it's a new enough trail, and it's growing quickly enough that I think Far Out's going to have a hard time keeping up here for a minute. So we'll have to just update each other as hikers. It's really hot today. I'm hiking in sunglasses, and I got my hair tied back and ball cap on and sunscreen everywhere. And later on I'll probably switch to my buff to protect the back of my neck more on this railroad trail. So the informational signs along the Ice Age Trail are really interesting. This actually describes the area I just hiked through. I'm standing where this thing says there's a gate. It says you are here. So that's a moraine I just came across, or I'm walking down into, and I just walked out of the glaciated area, and I'm walking into the driftless area. So this is kind of right where the glacier stopped, right along here. There's a big ridge right there. You can walk up on another trail that's around here. So fun science facts. And one really not so fun fact actually about the Ice Age Trail is that a lot of people come out here to walk their dogs, and almost no one puts their dog on a leash like they're required to. And most people get their dog under control, but a certain percentage of them don't even bother. They don't even acknowledge that the dog shouldn't be off lead. They just let their dog run up to you and run all over you. And so for a thru hiker, be careful. The dogs have all been friendly, well, mostly friendly. Some of them have barked like maniacs. But I haven't been worried about being bitten or anything. Dogs tend to like me, but if you have issues with dogs and you're going to hike this trail, I would say you might want to bring some pepper spray with you or something, because some of the dog owners don't give a hoot that their dog should be on a lead. They could care less. So I just finished up the Prairie Moraine County Park part of the Dane County Parks part of the Ice Age Trail, and I don't know if this is the end of a segment of the Ice Age Trail or just this part, but I'm about 2 hours in, so I'm going to take a break and check my mileage and hydrate and try to relax for 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm going to get started again. So I just finished up that section, and I now have so I'm at 4.5 miles after 2 hours. That's a pretty reasonable start to the day, especially because a lot of it was actually trail. not real challenging, but still it doesn't move as fast as the road walks do. Now I got a 3 mile or so section of road walk until I get about 7.5 miles in. And that'll put me back at the Badger State Trail, which is that rail to trail that I was on earlier. So I'll reconnect with it, and I'll be on that rail to trail, Badger State State Trail or whatever it is. I'll put it up here on the screen. I'll be on that for almost all the way down to the Brooklyn Wildlife Area and the DCA. So this 3 mile stretch today of road walking, it's the only road walking that I do today of any significance. So out of the 14 miles today, 11 miles of it's on some kind of a trail. So I've come to the end of this long road walk, and I've joined back up with the, I think this is called the Badger State Trail or something. And I'm going to make a right and go down it this way. This is also lunchtime. So I'm going to take a little pack off shoes off break right here, and then I'll start in on this segment. Okay, I'm done with that lunch break. This was a really nice little kiosk. This is also a popular bicycling trail. It's a crushed limestone going south, and it's paved going north. If you're on a bicycle, you actually have to pay a fee, or you have a regular annual state pass or something like that. But I couldn't film until now because there were too many people coming and going. It's very popular. Right now there's nobody coming or going, so I can do a little bit of filming. But there's a picnic table with a wheelchair access extension on one end, and it's positioned in such a way that in the afternoon this side's in the shade really thoroughly. So it's a really nice place for a lunch break. I was here about a half an hour. I'm about to get on the this big long section. This is the start of part of the Montrose segment, 7.5 miles of the Ice Age Trail, and this is all on trail. In fact, I don't think I have any road walking left today. I think I'm all trail for the rest of the day. Down here where I'm pointing with my pole, that's where the DCA is. That little A right there. A little tent shaped thing, and I'm hiking from basically this whole map. Right when I get to Henry Road there, I need to make a note. There's a place called Dot's Pub or something like that, which is just off the intersection to the west, which is the next spot I can get good water easily. It's about 3 miles in. I've got almost a liter still, so even though I'm 7.5 miles into the day, I've drank 1 liter. And I'm not feeling parched or dehydrated or anything. So it's been hot when I'm in the sun, but a lot of the trail has been like what you're seeing here. It's been a trail, or it's been. So a lot of the trail today has been like what you're seeing here. It's either been an actual trail through the woods, or it's been a rail to trail that's either paved or gravel, but it's got mature trees or relatively mature trees on one or both sides, so you're in and out of the sun and it's not too hot. So yeah, I did the first 7.5 miles in 3 hours. So I'm not sure what that works out to mileage wise, but I think it's more than 2 miles an hour, and I wasn't really hoofing it or anything. So it's been a good day so far. I'm halfway through. Again, it's about 12:30, so I should be at the DCA by 4:30 or 5. I'll take one more break in 2 hours. It'll just be a pack off break, not shoes off and pack off. And I'll have a snack there. And I just now ate the breakfast burrito that I bought yesterday in Cross Plains. And surprisingly, it was really tasty. And it was still pretty fresh because the hotel I stayed at had a little mini fridge, so it was refrigerated all night last night. So yeah, I'm having a pretty good hiking day so far. about a 3/10 of a mile north of Henry Road, where I'm going to go over to Dot's Tavern and get water. There's actually a fresh running stream under this bridge. It's running pretty steady today. It looks like maybe it's seasonal, like in the middle of the summer it wouldn't run, but right now it's running a plenty. And it's hard to see. You can kind of see on the other side. It looks like there's a dirt path route from the north end of this bridge on the right hand side as you're southbound, where you could get down there if you were really desperate and out of water and you were here at a point when Dots wasn't open. So I have reached the intersection of this rail to trail path and Henry Road, and somewhere up in here is Dots, and if I had to guess, it's up here on the left, and that's what all these cars are parked here about. So I guess getting here at 1:42 on a Saturday is rush hour for Dots on the weekend. There's a Harley out there and a little convertible Mustang. Let's see if I can get myself some water. So I just stopped in at Dot's Tavern since 1948. You might hear the music in the background. About 2 o'clock on a Saturday and the band's firing up. The trail comes out right down there by those telephone poles. So it's not, a couple hundred feet off trail. And the thing is, you walk up to it's in what's a private residence. So you walk up and you got to walk around the side by this parking lot and go in the back. There's a sign you might see back there that says Bosco Unincorporated, and there's a food truck right in front of it. And Dots is actually built on the back patio of this place, and there's a sound stage, as you can hear. Really nice, friendly people. And I ordered a non-alcoholic beer and a bottle of water, but after I got them, I said, well, in the end I'm gonna be wanting 2 or 3 liters because I'm hiking the trail. And she said, oh, well, you don't need to pay for that. There's a sink over there you can fill up at. So right by the bar, outside of the barkeep's area, there's a sink that you can fill up water bottles out. There's also a bathroom inside downstairs and an ATM. And there's also a porta potty out back. So I suspect if I had needed to charge my phone or something, I probably could have done that too. But really nice, friendly people. I asked her if it was okay to mention her on YouTube, and she said, sure. More publicity, the better. This town Bosco is like maybe a dozen or 2 dozen homes. But I talked to people at the bar for a while, and they're from all over the area, Belleville and other towns that are around here. So it's a kind of a popular local out-of-the-way hangout. And the patio has a real friendly vibe to it. People were really nice, curious about what I'm doing walking the trail, what it's like, but nobody was, negative or judgmental or anything. I asked Dot if she minded having, dirty, stinky through hikers coming through there, and she said, no, we like hikers. So I would encourage folks to put Dots on their places to stop by. So I think I'm about done with the segment here on the Badger State Trails rail to trail section. It's about a mile south of Dots. So I'm still carrying that 3 liters of water. This is the Montrose segment. I think technically that's the segment that the DCA is in, actually. So now I'm coming up on the water source that's mentioned on Far Out. Some people say there's water here. Some people say it's stagnant and funky, and other people say it's just dry. So since I'm coming here like May 9th or May 10th, we will see. I would say funky and stagnant would be the word for it. It's got a lot of algae growing on it. There are easy ways to get down to it on the sides over there. And you could push the algae back and scoop, but you'd want to be careful. But the places where it's not covered in algae, it's pretty clear all the way to the bottom, so it's not murky or anything, and it doesn't look horrible. It doesn't look undrinkable. It just looks like, since I'm already carrying 3.5 liters, I don't have to worry about it. So, oh, thank goodness. Another probably a mile off the road only, or less, and we're into some nice shaded woodland hiking. So this was very much a relief when I got to it, just because it is hot today and it's 2:30. So this is the last part of my day, and I'm hiking into the DCA in this section, which is just at the north end of the, I think it's called the Brooklyn Wildlife Sanctuary or something like that. But nope, no sooner do I think I'm going to get to hike in the woods for a while, and I get to the edge of the woods, and there's a boardwalk across something that looks like it probably does get really marshy part of the year. And this looks like it might go on for a while, so back into the sunshine. So I was a little bit off, but there is this one last piece of road walking in the Montrose segment, but it's only like 4/10 of a mile. So this parking lot and trailhead for the Montrose segment lists 6 different destinations from here. The 4th one down is that water from a well 5.2 miles out, and I'm not heading there tonight, but it's where I'll be headed tomorrow morning. So I've got about 2 miles to the campsite, and it looks like some of it is in that woods up there, but there's still some in the sun. So I'm going to take a little pack off break real quick, because I'm doing fine. It's just now 3 o'clock, and it doesn't matter if I get to that campsite at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Take a little shoes off, pack off kind of break here, because it's late in the day and pretty hot. My feet were burning up from that little road walk, and I read the signboard and discovered that this bench I was enjoying the shade in was built by Johnny Yan and members of Boy Scout Troop 349. Looks like in the Brooklyn wildlife section of the Montrose segment that there are some more interesting rock formations, which is just curious, because I thought we were down in the driftless zone and out of the glaciation area after coming out of Verona, but maybe not. Maybe we're running down along that line where the glaciers moved further south. I don't know. I am 3/10 of a mile from the DCA, and there's a little viewpoint trail, which I'm just going to walk out a little ways to, but you can see how you can see way out across the Wisconsin landscape from up here. Clearly we're in the driftless zone now, where the glaciers and the big formations don't exist, and land begins to flatten out. So this is camp for the night. This is the DCA at the edge of the Brooklyn Wildlife Preserve. It's actually reasonably big and nice. It's got a bench. Greg in Wild is making dinner. His tent's set up. Tomorrow's the day when I try to walk a marathon, and I'm going to be hitting the sack here in a minute, trying to get some sleep. So it was a good day. 14 miles, almost like 800 feet, right, or so, of ascending and descending. Yeah, so it was a pretty gentle trail. A lot of really hot though. Dots was a big plus for the day.
A lot of suburban neighborhoods.
Yeah. A lot of, at least up in Verona, also a lot of day hikers out with their dogs off lead and things like that. And
I still want to know why we walk through suburban neighborhoods and there's not one convenience store that we go past.
It is an odd thing about this trail that on this is like on this whole segment of it. we're walking through some really nice residential districts, and there have to be, quick trips or something nearby, and we don't go by any of those things, and it would be helpful. But Dots was a big hit. I got water and a near beer, and there were friendly people, and I had music. And was the music playing when you were there?
Yes, it was this one guy singing.
Yeah.
I think it was like 80s and 90s pop songs.
Yeah. So anyway, I was there for half an hour or so, had some good conversations, and loaded it all up on water. And tomorrow there's water all along the route, and Greg and Wild and I are going to part company because he's got a different plan for tomorrow, and I'm going to hike on to 23 or 24 miles to Albany and get in my truck and camp there the night and then go home. So this is my last night on trail. I'm sad, but I'm also okay. I'm ready to go too. So I'm going to hit the hay early. So this is Data on Trail saying, hope y'all had a good day.